Good morning, everyone. This is the new show of Breakfast with Bobbi. We have something a little different today. Kristina is under the weather, so welcome to Breakfast with Bobbi. Today, our guest is going to be Theresa Randolph, who is a naturopath, and she lives up in the UP of Michigan. She probably is not in the UP, but anyway, I'm here in sunny and windy and cold Wisconsin, and I just wanted to welcome in this morning Theresa Randolph. She's going to be with us for the next hour talking about natural, holistic health and wellness and whatever else we can drum up, and maybe even some stuff we didn't think about. So please welcome today my friend Theresa. She's been here a couple
Hi,
of times.
Bobbi.
Hi there. How are you?
Hi. I don't have sound, honey.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Uh-oh.
Hey guys, this happens a little bit with an iPhone. Theresa, if you can go all the way out and come back in, I'll pull you right back up. You should be fine.
So I'll just sit here and entertain you all.
There you go.
See, that's what happens when Kristina's not here. She kind of runs the show. Are you back?
Hi, Bobbi. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't.
I can hear you. I can hear you well.
A little bit of technical difficulties. I can't hear you.
I guess. So, Theresa, perhaps we can talk a little bit about the cold and flu season.
Okay. How do I go out?
We apologize for all of the incidents here.
Yeah, she's going out and coming back in, and it should be fine then.
This is something that we didn't think about today, but it happens. So anyway, I'm just going to sit here and entertain you all because that's probably what I do best. So as some of you know, I just graduated from a shamanic practitioner school last August, and I've been doing some shamanic clearings and healing sessions and stuff. And so, Theresa, can you hear us?
I made it.
Yay!
Yay!
Anyway, so I thought today perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what's going on in the cold and flu season. I know that you're so good at all of your remedies and stuff, and I know you and I were talking just a little bit before that I've developed this kind of a cough, and it has not gone away. And I thought you could address that a little bit because I'm struggling.
Yeah, I've been treating a lot of people with this cough that's gone to their chest very easily. There's a lot of influenza A going around. There was, prior to that, some other intestinal flus going around. People have ended up having like influenza A and different variations go to their lungs very easy, I've found, because of the Canadian wildfires that we've had, the smoke that's come over, and we get it a lot here in the UP, a whole lot. It was so bad last year and the year before that I had to drain my pool twice in the summer because the sediment just settled in the pool and turned it all green, and I've never had a green pool ever. And I've had a pool for years. And so anyhow, the example of that is because if it can do that to a pool, imagine what it can do to your lungs when you're breathing it in. What happens when it's particles, it's almost like being in an actual fire, as if you were exposed to an actual fire. And these particles that are left over from the fires are settling in the bottom of your lungs. They'll go in, not necessarily the bottom, but in the alveoli, and they'll settle like in the bottom of the alveoli, and which are the little air pockets that open and close in your lungs. They have little sphincters, and as they open and close, if this settles in there, it gives you this.
Theresa just disappeared on us. I hope that she's going out and coming back in. So anyway, as I was telling you that the shamanic clearings and stuff and the healing sessions, what I've been into lately.
There we are.
We're
I'm
just going
back.
to continue on this swap of
Did I lose you again?
conversation. I'm here.
Goodness, what's going on here?
So my latest interest is in breath work, and I've been taking a couple of classes here and there on breath work, and there are so many different variations of that. Here comes Theresa. So now I can't hear you. So we're going to give Theresa a minute to collect what's going on over there, and Gwen in the background is going to help. So the reason that I'm doing the show today by myself is Kristina is under the weather, and this is my first day of winging it. She's been asking me for a while to take on the show by myself, and so here I am taking it on by myself. Anyway.
Okay, here I am.
Great.
What the heck?
You know what? It's the energy. I'm certain of it. You know, we talk about the energy field and stuff, and I know that you're spiritual as well. So this is my test, Theresa. This is my initiation to doing Breakfast with Bobbi.
There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, the villi ends up happening, you know, when you have that much sediment in your lungs, there's not supposed to be sediment in there. And so basically they're compromised already. So if another bug comes along like influenza or whatnot, you're already compromised, and the villi can actually get scarred if it's, you know, damaged and stays open too much. It can, like a chronic smoker, that's damage to their lungs each time they smoke. That's where emphysema comes from. And so what happens is scar tissue creates, and the villi can't open and close how they're supposed to. So therefore, if you get, you know, influenza bugs or any kind of bug, it's going to go to your chest first, because that's the weakest part right there. And it's going to be hard to get rid of. But there's different things to help get rid of it. Osha root, mullein, calendula, those are a few things that can help you clear out those lungs and heal it up.
So can you get all of these things at a natural store type of thing, or an apothecary of some sort? I did hear about mullein root. I do have some of that, but I'm not familiar with the Osha.
Okay, actually, it's not the mullein root it has different properties than the leaf itself. So it's the mullein leaf that you're looking for. So you want like a mullein leaf extract or oil, or just actual mullein leaf, and you can smoke it and it will relieve the mucus in the lungs. So the mullein root is something that will help spinal pain.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and digestion.
Well, that's a whole different.
It is. It's the different things. Parts of the plants can do different things for you, you know. And if you do the glycinyl extract, then you get all the parts of the plant in it, that, or full spectrum. People these days are calling it the full spectrum, you know, plant, which means all the parts of the plant. And so then they'll get the full effects. But I do them separately, and if somebody wants the full spectrum, then I will, you know, mix that and make that for them.
So speaking of that, you do a lot of foraging, don't you? You forage for a lot of your stuff, all of it or some of it?
I'm going to say probably about 50% or more, right around in there, probably about 60, right around in there. And then I also grow a lot. I have probably, I'm going to say about 60 things around the yard here that I grow.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something the last time you were on. There is a weed. Well, it's obviously not a weed. I think you mentioned that it helps digestion, and most people have it in their yard and don't even know about it. And I went outside and picked some, and then steeped it in some water, and you know, it helps. The thing is, you know, if you don't know what you're picking and what you're looking at outside, it gets a little complicated, because you could be drinking or eating things that you're not really aware of.
Right. It's chickweed, I think, is what you're talking about.
That very well may be it.
Mhm.
You know, and it's got these little stick tights on it, and you walk through it, and it sticks on your clothes.
Oh, okay. That's cleavers.
That is right, cleavers.
Yes,
That's the one.
cleavers. Yep. And chickweed helps with digestion too. But cleavers, what cleavers does, that's actually another very important thing for any kind of cold flu issue that goes on, any kind of sickness or, even after cancer, people go through chemotherapy or whatnot, or if they do it naturally, what happens when you get sick, you end up with dead cellular debris in your system, in your lymphatic system. And when that stays in your system and you don't do things to get it out, you're going to have a long-term illness, and it's going to be really hard. And that might help you to recover from what you're going through right now too, because what cleavers does is it's a chelator, and it gets a hold of the dead cellular debris in your lymphatic system, and it'll help to flush that out and get that out. And some people, if they've had it for a long period of time, it might take them a few months, to get that debris out. But once you get that debris out of there, you'll start feeling better and better and better. Because it's basically like having, little bits of toxins floating around in your system that just stay there until you flush it out. And a chelator, what that is what it gets a hold of different things, and it drags it out of the system and helps you flush it out. Like seaweed is a chelator, and it helps get hold of different toxins in your system as well and get them out. So is cilantro.
Oh,
Cilantro is specifically good for heavy metals, but however, people with metal implants, in them, shouldn't eat cilantro, because what it'll do is just, if there's little bits of it in their system, it'll just drag it around and make you sick. So
wow.
yeah.
So the cleavers, is there a type of recipe, or is there how much is too much? Can I drink it all day?
Cleavers, no, what I would do, just 2 cups a day, of tea a day on that. Moderation in anything is good. You
Yeah.
really don't want to ever overdo anything, including herbs. A lot of people think that herbs don't have side effects. Yes, they certainly do. So, and they also, it's good to pulse them, because if you take them on a regular basis all the time, then your body gets used to them. And I know there's a lot of different herbs that act as natural antibiotics, and they say they're resistant to your body getting used to them, but that's not so. That your body can get used to those or have too much, because you don't want to have, something in your immune system that is, say you get, cold flu that you have right now, and you take things to boost your immune system, and you can't continue on that, because if you continue to boost your immune system, you're going to get symptoms of like lupus, you're going to get body rashes, you're going to get hives, there's all kinds of stuff that'll happen. And so it's always good to pulse things. So when you want to boost your immune system, only do it for a little while and then stop, then back off of it.
So what's a little while? A couple of weeks?
Yep.
Couple of days?
Nope, couple weeks. If you're sick, a couple of weeks is good. But rule of thumb that I use, even if I'm going to do, something for a couple of weeks to boost my immune system, I will be on it 3 days and then 2 days off. 3
Okay.
days, 2 days off. So that way because your body, it takes time to shift and get things through it, especially when you're sick. You need to let it do what it needs to do to flush that out. And always, of course, drink plenty of water. That helps to flush.
Yeah. So you mentioned natural herbs and such, and spices that we cook with. Oregano. A little story. I had an infection several years ago or whatever, and I put oregano oil on my chest, and then I had to go to the doctor, because I broke out from the oregano oil. And he just looked at me like I was, had 6 heads, and he said, "You put that on your chest." I said, "I did." And he said, "Well, here." And then I had to be on steroids. So,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
thing about so oregano, where do you use it? What do you do with it? Is it better on your feet? Do you ingest it? What?
Okay. So oregano oil, yeah, it's best on, you can put it on your feet. You can ingest it only if it's diluted. So, you can take and dilute it in like any kind of like extra virgin olive oil I use, or jojoba, aloe. You can dilute it in aloe if you want, because aloe is also another good carrier. People don't realize that, but aloe doesn't last a whole long time. But anyhow, dilute it in a carrier oil, and then you can put it on your feet or take it orally. But that's something that you have to be really careful of, because oregano, it can leave burns.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why it has to have dilution. So, and
Yeah.
you're talking like in 1 ounce of oil, put literally 1 to 2 drops. That's it.
Oh,
That's it. So I don't do that's with the essential oils. Okay. I don't do essential. I do some essential oils, I should say, because I burn them in my burner, um, just to clear the space, like holy basil and things like that, to clear and frankincense and myrrh, to clear, any kind of bacterial in the air. And especially cold and flu season, I have that going almost all the time. And you breathe it in, and it also helps your lungs, to clear up. However, for the most part, the oils and extracts that I use are the ones that I make. So, and those are already, you don't have to dilute them. They're already where they need to be. They're not so because essential oils are like brewed like alcohol, how you get alcohol. So they're super, super strong. And that's why you have to be careful. That's why you probably had chest issues. That's why, people who are like ingesting these essential oils, they're doing themselves more harm than good, because
right.
that's not how you use them.
Right. Well, there are some people that feel that if a little is good, a lot is better, and that is not usually the case.
Mm-mm.
I think you're
Nope.
right. The spices and herbs and stuff that we cook with are actually more medicinal, and we just don't realize it, and we use them to flavor our food.
Right.
What do you know about mushrooms?
More than others, less than some and more than
Yeah.
others. My mushroom year from last season was, I was at 80 pounds of wild mushrooms. I had a good season.
What kind of mushrooms are you picking?
I found chanterelles, hen of the woods, black trumpets, hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are actually one of the ones that I have an extract of. Well, I do extracts of all of them, but that's one that's good for the winter blues, because it has natural serotonins in it. And it's great fresh, but I dry it and make a herbal or a mushroom extract out of it. And it has a lot of good stuff in it, and it helps fight, seasonal affective disorder.
Oh my gosh. I think
Yeah,
that
it's
would be
good stuff.
great. I,
Hmm.
I don't,
Yep.
again, there's so much information out there that people just don't know about. Um, the latest buzz is on like the chaga mushroom and some other stuff, and you put them in tea, and they're good for your mind and whatnot.
Oh yeah, chaga is wonderful. I have a jar of it, a quart of it in the refrigerator at all times, and it doesn't stay there for very long. And that's one of the things, like this time of year when people come. I also have rosehip um, tea in the refrigerator at all times too, this time of year. Sometimes in the summer too, just depending on what's going on. But the chaga, what it does, it'll help boost the immune system. And then this, again, the chronic cough that's going on right now. That's the first thing I do is give people a shot of chaga tea from the refrigerator, and then a shot of rosehip. And if they actually want to eat a whole rosehip, they can do that, because the rosehip has a lot of high amount of vitamin C in it, and the chaga has all kinds of other properties in it. and it treats this cough, this chronic cough that's going around. And like my grandson had it, for example, and another one of his little friends. And it took 2 ounces, 2 shots, and within a half hour, I should say they had 2 shots within a half hour, and then a half hour later or so, their cough calmed right down.
That is such a miracle.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they don't teach that stuff in school or anywhere. So, so speaking of that, would you like to talk a little bit about your history, about how you learned what you learned? I know that we covered this in another show, but that was in a different time and place. And
Okay.
I'm really enamored with your education and how you came to be doing what you're doing.
Okay, my grandfather was full-blooded Blackfoot Indian, and so it started with me just following him around with bated breath with everything he had to say about the woods. And I've always loved the woods, and for whatever reason, I've always been drawn to the woods. It's a very comfortable place for me. And it's very healing and grounding, I think. And, there's the latest science is saying that if you are in the woods just for 20 minutes, it boosts your immune system and your serotonin for like 30 days.
Oh,
And yeah, it's wonderful. So it's grounding. Anyhow, so he taught me a whole lot when I was little. And that just stuck with me. And I was one of the kids in the 60s that instead of having a Kool-Aid stand, I had a herbal tea stand. And it did well. I did well. I was always an entrepreneur. And I had the hippie vans pull up. But anyhow, I stuck with it through my young years and then teen years and early 20s. And then later on in life, in my late 30s, I went to college and I minored in natural medicine and majored in clinical psychology. And I combined the two, and here we are. So that was my thesis was on if natural medicine and allopathic medicine, which is the Western medicine, if they were to co-op, it would change the whole face of the medicine world.
yeah.
And we need it.
Right, we do.
Mhm.
I am on what we call a metabolic reset right now, which is why I'm talking about, why we were going to bring into the phase this, the pharmaceutical industries and stuff. The first phase of my metabolic reset is drinking a lot of water. Half of my body weight in ounces are drank every day in water, or some sort of, you can infuse the water and such. So the interesting part about all of that is the other part of the reset is that I can't have any chemicals. And so, as you can imagine, going through your daily life, and you probably do it all the time, the fact that it's difficult to go to your refrigerator and find something that is completely pure without any chemicals in it is difficult.
Very.
No dairy, no preservatives in the foods that I'm eating. And I'm finding that just a little bit difficult. But then you go to the woods and you find all of these cool stuff. And unfortunately, it's a little cold, and unfortunate that we can't find anything growing outside right now.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard not to eat anything dairy. It's hard to find something unless you're growing your own food and you have your own meats. And even in the store, the stuff that you're buying is not completely pure either.
No.
And so it's a little bit daunting. I'm surprised that I'm doing as well. And I have to admit, towards the end of the day, after I've accumulated enough of what I've eaten, and I've gone more towards the vegetarian type of stuff and drinking a lot of tea. And again, I have sensitivity to a lot of things. And so a lot of weeds. So nobody ever has to worry about me, doing pot because it's a weed. I can't do any of that. So the THC and all of those other properties that are helpful are difficult for me to digest. So I just don't do it. Is there anything that you can think of that would help people find things and eradicate the chemicals and stuff in their systems and how they get rid of that?
Different chelators. Again, you have your seaweed, which is things out of your system as you're clearing your system. That, and then the clevers will help as well. There's many of them out there. People can Google chelators, and they're different ones do different things. But again, like I said, if you're going to do like cilantro, make sure you don't have any metal implants, titanium implants or anything, or nickel in your body, because, or at least not too much in your body, because what that'll do is just drag it through and make you sicker. I have myself personally, I have a lot of metal implants just from weird accidents that happened over the years. And I can't eat cilantro. If I eat cilantro, it makes me deathly ill. And that's just because it's dragging things all through my system. There's other ways to do that. And so another way is if you can go like, and this is what I do to reset my system and cleanse my system. I go on a diet as to where I slowly get towards just liquids. So I go down to like mashed foods, and all the foods that I eat, I try to do fresh foods. And I always try to do that anyhow, but I pay extra attention to not cheat on that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to such and so place, and then there's a dessert or whatever. You know what I mean? So I go, oh, nope, I'm dedicated to this. I am going to go on this diet, and I slowly go from solid foods then to like a lot of mashed or blended foods. And once I get to the blended foods, and I'll stay on that and do that for about 2 weeks. And so then that way it's easier. Everything, on your stomach and on your digestive system, you're clearing out all those big particles that are stuck in there.
Mm.
And so once you get those particles cleared out like that, then you go on a liquid diet. And, things, just clear broth, bone broth is so good for you. And it'll help clear out so much from your system as well, plus give you the nutrients at the same time. Like I have this huge stock of bone broth because I make it quite often, especially through the winter, not through the summer. And so I like to have it on stock in case I need to give it to a client, if there's going through some issues. And it helps them a lot with keeping the nutrition that they need in their body to get better. Specifically to like cancer patients going through chemo. Anyhow, so if you go down to this liquid diet, which, and mainly I do like bone broth and water, tea, that kind of thing. And if you can stay on it at least 2 weeks, your system will get pretty clear. And like through this 2 weeks, like for me, the second week in, then you can take something with a lot of fiber in it. And when you do that, it's going to get really deep into your intestines and get what's stuck in there out. And especially if you have sinus issues, if you have chronic sinus issues, that mucus, it goes into your intestines, your large intestines, and it clings to the walls of it. And so that's going to give you malabsorption. You're not going to be absorbing, you actually absorbing your small intestines that align that as well. And there's where you end up with your malabsorption in the lower lining of your intestines. When that mucus lines that, it ends up like a barrier, and then it breaks a lot of different it makes like little cracks, if you will, okay, because it hardens, it gets in there and just adheres to your intestines. So then you end up with leaky gut syndrome. So you end up with leaky gut syndrome, you're going to be sicker than a dog, because all those toxins you're not absorbing, number one, in the upper part where you should be. And then number two, what you are absorbing is leaking in your system is toxins. And so anyhow, if you go the 2 weeks on a liquid diet, and then in the second week, take something that's a lot of fiber in it, and it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind what's in your body. And because you'll be like, I thought everything was cleared out. It'll blow your mind.
What do you suggest for something that has a lot of fiber in it? Is it natural vegetables, or are you talking fiber capsules okay?
Yeah, fiber capsules are fine.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Natural fiber capsules, and those are all over the place. You look at
Yeah.
ones that you have, yeah, and those are fine. Yep. And it'll amaze you when you think, because you've been on a liquid diet, that everything's gone. Mm-mm.
Well, that's why you have a colonoscopy and they have you do it twice. So, the first bottle goes and then the second bottle, even though it looks like it's clear, it's not.
Right. Well, and the thing of it is, yeah, it's not. And then then you'll see when you take the fiber, because that fiber, and then if you're doing a chelator along with that, the fiber will help break, get a hold of that mucus, that liner that's in your intestines, and pull it out.
Hmm. So you said something earlier just about the mucus sitting in your stomach and whatnot and clinging onto your intestines. I've had sinus issues forever, for a very long time since I was a kid, and allergies and stuff. So that makes a lot of sense for me. That really hit home. You mentioned root vegetables. Do you grow your own root vegetables? Turnips? Do you use rutabaga? Does anybody use rutabaga anymore?
You know what? That's something I keep in my refrigerator almost all the time, because I'll just eat it just to eat it. How I do it is I do smashed rutabaga, and I add a little tiny bit of canned milk to it, and sea salt, of course, and then a little bit of butter, and I smash it all up. And to me, I love it. It's good stuff.
People, I remember as a kid having rutabaga in soups and not liking it. I don't know why. I mean, I recall it doesn't have a ton of flavor to it, right?
No, it doesn't. It can have a slight bitter taste to it, but bitter is good, because anything bitter is good for your liver, and your liver clears out, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. And if you put just a little bit of butter and salt in there and smash it all up, I like it. I like it. It tastes good. That, and then I do smashed parsnips as well. Or I should say pureed parsnips. I puree parsnips, and it's the same thing. A little bit of real butter, and then a little bit of sea salt, and just puree it up, and I love it.
So there's a question. Gwen wants to know, Theresa, can you explain why some people taste soap when they eat cilantro?
You know what? I'm not sure about that one. The only thing I'm going to say is that there's some toxins in your system that is bringing forward. And, if people who have the silver fillings, they might, that's why they're tasting it, because it's bringing that silver filling. That's my guess. This is the first time I've heard about that, but that would be my guess, because cilantro, it gets a hold of the heavy metals, and anything silver is a heavy metal.
So she said that she heard that it was genetic, that it was a genetic trait. Could that be it?
It could be, but then you're talking your genes are specific for your taste buds, things like that, which I very well believe that because everybody's so different because of genetics. However, I'm going to believe more if there's look in your mouth and see what you got, the kind of fillings you have in your mouth.
I thought the silver fillings were supposed to be gone now, and a
lot of people have them still.
Really? Well, I suppose there's all kinds of stuff around. I just think it's really amazing that all the stuff, over time, they've asked questions about them, and like the metal thing, and all of a sudden they realize, well, they're not good for us. And then they change it to something else. So all the amalgam fillings and stuff in my mouth, 10 years from now are probably going to be bad for me.
Right. Because anything that is a foreign, product that's not organic, it'll probably give you an issue. So right off the bat, with different things like that, what I'll do is a deep dive into it. I go into these little wormholes where I dive into different things for hours and hours and really pick it apart. But I make sure that I do it with peer review articles, because those are the articles with science behind it. And, that's the one thing that's why I went into clinical psychology, because me growing up with herbs and knowing what I knew, all throughout my life, and I foraged since I was like 2 years old. I mean, you know what I mean? I was with my grandpa since I was 2 years old out there. But it, a lot of people would look at me, and that wasn't accepted back in the 60s and 70s either, only by the hippies. Okay. And so we were, it was all woo woo. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's still called woo woo. But these days, there is actual science behind all of it. And that's why I went into clinical stuff, clinical psychology, and added the natural medicine with it, because I wanted the science backing. So when people do deep dives into things that they're researching, they need to make sure that they're studying peer reviewed articles, because those that have the science to back it.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of things here that I wanted to tip on. You mentioned clinical
I lost
psychology.
you.
Do you do anything in somatic healing type stuff?
Yes. Somatic healing.
We just lost your sound. Okay.
Is it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Somatic healing is basically movements, just slow, nice movements to get energy out of your system that's this pent up in there that can cause issues from stress and things like that. And so they're just like nice, slow movements. You lay on, a nice surface, and some people like the floor, some people like the bed or whatnot. And say you draw your knees back, and you're with your feet on the bed, and just slowly move your hips back and forth, or slowly move your shoulders back and forth. Somatics, they're wonderful to get rid of different stressors in your body that you hold in there.
Mm-hmm. I work with a somatic stretch therapist myself.
Nice.
And he's a PhD in physical therapy, and he's got a master's degree in psychology. So when I go to see him, he tells me all of the things on my body, why they hurt, which is, it's a little daunting occasionally. But for instance, my low back pain is where I'm holding stress from not being supported. Mm-hmm. And so, as I reflect on all of that, there's so many people today that, back pain has been an issue forever. And so it depends on how your brain interprets all of that. Not that it's wrong, just that that's how your body picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to be said about rocking, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And music, because there's also, certain music that you relate to, that resonates with you. And I have many songs. I'm all about, like, all day, I'm all about music. And in between people, clients that come, I have to, I smudge if I need to get energy out. And then I will listen to different music that will like cleanse the area, and especially things that I resonate with, it cleanses me. Because that's another thing that's proven is sound therapy and different, like a song that you like, and it reminds you of a very, very good time, and you get really pumped about it and you love it, right? Mm-hmm. That's actually, it affects your DNA. It actually helps your DNA straighten out and correct itself when you listen to music like that.
So things that are pleasant for you, that bring up memories from the past, are therapeutic.
Or current. Yes, they're wonderful. It's wonderful. And it's, and I use a lot of drumming too. There's a band called Klebenow. I don't want to promote them, but I'll tell you what, they sure can pound a lot of stuff out. They're good on the drums, and when I need to pound some energy out, I just blast that out and just kind of pound it out. And I remember some of they had a bunch of gals over at one point, and we were all hanging out and doing our thing, and there was a lot of drumming going on. And I have a little pet silky chicken in the house, because she's handicapped. She's only like 2 pounds, under 2 pounds, actually, blah, blah, blah. And all these ladies were like, we were wondering what was going to happen. She was going to freak out with all this drum pounding going on. And she just sat there like, oh yeah, she's used to it. So drumming is good. She likes it.
You
Even for
mentioned Clanadonia. Is that a band? Is that what is
yeah,
it, or is that native? Or
it's a Scotch band. There's Native American bands that I listen to, different Native things too, but it's just Clanadonia is one that I will listen to, say, if I had a really hard session with somebody, I should say if somebody had a hard session going on and a lot of things came out that needed to come out, but they were pretty toxic, then I will listen to really hard pounding drums for a little while just to clear the area, clear me, for the next person that's coming through and clear my home because I work out of my home. So you want all that cleared out.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So you use drumming and smudge, right, for clearing your house?
Yes. And frankincense, myrrh, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of frankincense, I just learned how powerful that is for pain relief.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's a huge anti-inflammatory. And I've used that for years. And it's also good for the thyroid. If people have, either low thyroid or too much too high a thyroid, THS, you put it on your neck. Yeah, I make oil. I make a frankincense oil. I do the white frankincense, and then I also do the hojori, which is the green frankincense. And I like the green frankincense way better because it seems to have more properties or stronger properties, if you will. Because ever since I started using that, it just seems like it pumps it. Just everybody gets better with it quicker than the regular frankincense.
That's very interesting. Hi, Lee. How are you? So
Hi, Lee.
I was not aware that there were two different types of frankincense. I knew that there were some, but I've never heard of the white and the green. Is that something now that comes from a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tree bark.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where do you get that?
You can order that online. Of course, make sure it's all organic, and just Google hojori, or green frankincense, and it'll come up. And just make sure it's organic stuff.
Okay. Is there any company that you like better than the other ones? I'm not, promoting any company. I'm just promoting the purity of it all.
Just any company that's organic, to be honest with you. And
Okay.
I do a lot of different shopping on all kinds of sites, and I go with any company that's more organic. And if I find really good results with them, then I stick with them. Because sometimes, some places will claim, that it's organic and it's not organic or whatnot.
Right.
And you can tell the quality in it. So if I have, a batch of some that's new, that from a new place, and it's not working as well, I'll be honest with you, I pitch it and then I order more, and I don't use it.
Yeah. Well, there's specifications out there of how much they can put in without having to say that it's not organic. So they push it right to the limit and, add some other stuff to it. Yeah.
They do.
So again, given that this is cold and flu season, sort of, and hopefully we're almost out of it, what are some herbs and spices that you use for anti-inflammatory issues?
Some of the best herbs that I use for anti-inflammatory, fireweed is one. Fireweed is actually great for lupus, even, those, because I have a lot of people, I have lupus myself, and I have quite a few clients that have it. And you can literally watch the inflammation going down as you are treating them. You're putting it on, and another good one is horseroof, which is a fungus that grows on trees. It's a mushroom, but it's like it's a hard mushroom. It grows on dead trees, and not specifically any dead trees. I'm trying to think here. What birch, and I know I found it on some maples, and it's called horsehoof because it looks like a horsehoof. And yeah, and a lot of people call it tinder mushroom because it's another one, like chaga. The Native Americans, we used to put or fire from one place to the other by using it as a flame carrier, or a spark carrier, because you set it on fire and it'll carry that flame in there where, for a long period of time. You have to see a horsehoof mushroom to understand how it carries in there. It looks just like a horsehoof. And on the inside of it, it has these fibers in there, and you set those on fire and it just smolder in there.
Oh,
But
interesting.
anyhow, yeah, it's very, very medicinal. And that's another one that is in the oil form. I've seen, had people that have had a lot of inflammation in their upper back or lower back, and it just, you can watch it go right down. You can watch the inflammation just go away. I mean, I've treated people who could hardly walk from shoveling all this snow, and because I do body work as well, and they come in and all the snow that we've had, oh,
Yeah.
it's been coming by the foot this year. And
So I have a technical question.
yes,
The mushrooms. Some of
Yes.
them you can eat. Some you shouldn't. You should really know what you're doing with mushrooms.
absolutely.
Is it, if it's toxic for you to ingest, you shouldn't eat these particular mushrooms. It's okay to put on your skin for inflammation? Or
No, the conch, horsehoof mushroom is called either conch or horsehoof. So if I go back and forth, I'm sorry for calling it two different things. But anyhow, that's, you can ingest that. But how you ingest it would be through an extract or an oil that you make out of it.
okay.
And that's just for the simple fact it's full of fibery stuff. You don't want to eat that. So any mushrooms that you shouldn't eat, you shouldn't put them on your body either.
Okay, that was the question.
Yep. Nope. Don't put it on your, no, if you just leave it.
Okay. So we're almost to the end of our time, but before we go, I wanted to ask you if there's any events you have going on. Is there anything that you want people to know where you are and how to get a hold of you?
Oh, sure. I'm on Facebook, Theresa Randolph. You can just get a hold of me through Facebook, friend me and message me, private message me through there if you have questions. It's as easy as that. My phone number I know is on here. You can text me as well. If you have any questions, and either message or text is better, because I never know where I'm going to be at or doing at one point, so I can get back with you when I have a moment to get back. So calling is kind of difficult because we'll be playing phone tag a lot.
Okay. You do something in the late fall or something to do with harvesting.
Oh yeah, I usually do like a fall harvest. This year I'm actually going to have a midsummer one, or mid to end of summer one, I should say, like August. It's going to be in the second week of or first week of August. It is, and I'm doing it at that point because most of the people have come in the fall, that's a great time, and I've been able to teach a lot during that time. But I'm so excited for August because that's when like all the berries, all the herbal stuff, everything is just in its full glory at that point. And I'm just anxious to share it with people. And because that's one of my favorite time of year, because I'm so spoiled rotten, because I have so many wild and domestic berries to eat and veggies, and it's a wonderful time.
So do you do classes on top of that, or the harvest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. I've done periodically, I've done different survival classes in the woods where I teach how to treat wounds or whatnot.
Yeah.
If you have an injury or wound while you're out in the woods, and I show you how to treat that while you're in the woods with the herbs that are around you, so that way you can get home. You know what I mean? If you have an emergency.
Yeah. That's incredibly valuable information right there.
Oh, it is. It is. And, I always thought, man, oh man, people need to know this, because
Right.
I see so many accidents and things happen up here, and people are just, it's dangerous, very
Yeah.
dangerous.
Right. there are weeds and stuff that are obviously not weeds, but we call them weeds.
I know
And
that.
something simple that grows, in the middle of your driveway that you don't even know. The plantain wheat plant. Do you know what
Oh
you're
yeah.
familiar with? Yeah.
Yep. I tell my grandkids, I say, plantain, pick it, chew it, stick it, it kills the pain.
So you can eat it.
No, I'm not telling you, you can eat it, yeah.
Okay.
But if you have like, okay, my little grandson, when he was 9, he was playing on the playground, and one of his friends fell and hurt himself, and he remembered what grandma said about plantain. And I always say, pick it from an area where nobody's walking, because you don't want that. And the only reason you chew it is to get the fibers, the juices, the stuff in it going. Because you have to
Oh,
either mash it or, and you can chew it because it'll also help kill the pain as you're chewing it, because it goes in, you know what I mean, in your
yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
So you chew it up or mash it, and then you stick it right on whatever wound or pain what's going on, and then it'll kill the pain, and it actually helps to stop the bleeding. It's also antimicrobial, so you can stick it right on there. So is like pineapple weed is the same thing. Pineapple weed I like a little bit better because, say for people who are on blood thinners, things like that, and they have a wound, you get a hold of that pineapple weed and it'll stop that bleeding in 30 seconds flat, even if you're on a blood thinner. And it's an antimicrobial.
And so
And
where
it kills the pain.
wow, and you find that just outside in the woods? It's a common
Oh, it's all
weed?
over my yard.
Okay.
It's everywhere. And same with plantain, it's everywhere. And that's why my little 9-year-old grandson, it was hilarious. His friend got hurt and he's like, oh, wait, I can fix that. And he says, he's telling me about it. He says, I told him I can fix that. Come on over here. And he found some plantain and he says, chew it up. And the kid's like, what? So he wouldn't chew it up. So my grandson chewed it up for him and stuck it on his wound. And the kid was like, oh, I feel better.
Oh, isn't that something?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
God has given us all of the stuff that we need if we would pay attention and be educated about all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
So do you have any classes or anything coming up that you want to tell people about?
I have my one in August, but I think I'm already going to have to split it into 2 classes because there's so many people that are going to be involved with it. And the people that come, a lot of people come, some are local and then a lot are not local. And so I have a VRBO rental and my she shed, they stay in there. But I can only fit so many. And so if I end up having to split more, and do different class, I can do that. So that's going to be I think it's the weekend of August 9th. But again, that's already full. So I'll be thinking about it, doing another class, and might do it in September or so, end of September, maybe 1st of October.
Mhm.
So, and if people are interested, just let me know and I can put one together. It's not a big deal.
Mhm. And that's a weekend of foraging and harvesting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you teach them how to make any tinctures or any salves or anything like that?
Oh yeah, all that's talked about. If I do, but the thing with salves and even lotions, I make lotions too. Oils are easy, extracts are easier to teach. But the salves and oils or salves and lotions there's more to it. And those are classes by themselves, just because there's so much to it.
Mhm.
But as far as like in the woods, there's different things that like last year I did, we learned about mushrooms, and we learned a little bit about help, as far as if you had an emergency in the woods and how to take care of it. I only touched base a little bit about that because we found so many mushrooms that it was just more about mushrooms. That kind of thing. So this year, I think it's going to be more about herbs that you can heal different things with, just because those will be on more at that time.
So you mentioned fireweed, speaking of herbs and stuff. Is that a common weed that just grows anywhere?
Yep. It grows I'm going to say like ditches along wetter areas.
Mm.
Where I've seen it. Yeah. And it's got the flower it's like a cone flower. I shouldn't say, it's more like a triangle flower. It's wide at the bottom and it points at the top, and it looks like it's red. It looks like fire, has long
Oh.
skinny leaves to it. So it's always good to know what you're doing and how to pick it too, because if you don't know how to harvest different things, for example, people who don't know how to harvest mullein are going to end up having like sneezes and a cough for a while after they harvest it. You need to really put something, mask or something over your face when you harvest the mullein leaves, because they have these little barbs on them that you breathe in, and it'll make you cough for quite a while. And so use gloves, because you'll get a little rash on your hands too if you don't use the gloves. So if you don't know how to do that way, you're going to be miserable.
Well, okay. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Theresa Randolph, they can reach out on Facebook, or they can contact us here on Breakfast with Bobbi, and we'll direct the people right to you. And in addition to that, we wanted to thank you for coming today, Theresa. It's always so enlightening to talk to you. You are such a wealth of knowledge and stuff that people don't always know. And it's interesting to pick your brain on all the cool stuff. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
If anybody wants to reach me, they can contact me again on Facebook or through the website, through Breakfast with Bobbi. And I promise you all that Kristina will be back in a couple of weeks in our next show. So from here on in, thank you all again for coming, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.